I think when you stay in this victim mindset, I think you could have the same therapist for two different people, and two different clients will drive those conversations in different ways. Where if someone wants to stay in this mindset of I was a victim of a past spouse or friend or all of these things, then you're not moving anywhere. You're just staying in the shit all the time about this. But if you're approaching therapy in the idea, it's like, okay, I'm on my way to healing, but also I'm doing these things with my life to move forward. How can you help me get these blocks out of the way? I think those are like two very different people, and I like the direction of that. And so I guess when it comes to resiliency, can you explain what the difference, if there is one, between emotional and mental resilience, if there is a difference?
Well, emotions come first. We're emotional beings, and so our emotions happen, under the hood before we have thoughts. So the emotions are the generators of thoughts.
Okay.
And so that's an important kind of dynamic to realize that, and we are all emotion, sensation, and thought creating machines. That's what we're designed to do. So we're constantly generating those three things, which make up our reality. The ability to be a conscious generator of, hey, I'm choosing how to interpret and to experience my thoughts, emotions, and sensations. That gives you the efficacy or the advocacy to be able to serve. And so that ability to not be run by any of those three things is the initiation process. It's like, hey, as an initiated man, I can recognize that I'm feeling sadness, or my body hurts, or I have obsessive thoughts about something, but those are not rulers of my reality. I get to choose how I experience or interpret that.
Okay.
And so that's a psychological conversation, but it's at the very root of consciousness. It's the function of meditation, and meditation was given to the warrior class. Meditation was given to men on the battlefield by the god Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. The Krishna, the god, gave the hero of that story, Arjuna, a protocol to defeat all his enemies and be absolved of all guilt. And that protocol was meditation. And so the act of meditation is to raise your consciousness above, well, I'm feeling this way, so I have to do it. Or I thought these things, so I have to say them. Or I'm feeling, a sensation, so I have to react to it. Like, no, you don't. You are a sovereign creature that is having these experiences that are not you. They do not have to dictate the way that you speak and act and consume and live. So meditation is kind of the dojo of raising consciousness or sovereignty, and it's connected to initiation. That ability to be a sovereign man, as opposed to one who's ruled by emotions or thoughts. That's a very different animal. It's self-control. That is it's a development of maturity, and it
Right.
can be taught. It's a taught function.
Well, it sounds like that brings us back to that hard idea where you said, like, to not be controlled by your emotions. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of men seem to interpret that is that we shouldn't have them, or that we should ignore them. And so how do you, because it sounds like what you're saying is that it's hard to have mental resiliency without emotional resiliency, because you have to master that one. So how do you not let how would you teach some of your students, I guess, your clients, how do I phrase this, to have emotional adaptability and resiliency, but not dismiss the fact that you have emotion? Like, how do you control them by also accepting them if they're so overwhelming, etc.?
Yeah. So you have to name them. Like
Okay.
you are not them. So the act of naming something is the act of owning it, right? And
Accepting
so
it.
a lot of the process of this is, write things down. That's a very very proven therapeutic model of dealing with your thoughts. Write it down, and then it's not this sort of vague force that is behind you and possessing you. You write it down, and now it's like, oh, I own that. And the same thing with emotions. The act of speaking is to own it. And so it means, oh, I'm in charge now of, I can see this thing in front of me instead of behind me. So writing and speaking, are indispensable with resiliency. They're all therapeutic models. That's why we go to therapy, is that we get to speak the words, and, abracadabra. I create what I speak. It's an old Hebrew word. And so when we say things, now we get to own it. We get to crystallize this sort of vague water that I'm swimming in into something that is manageable. So writing and speaking are really important for that ownership.
I've definitely found that every time I just find too many ideas or worries or whatever that are just swirling in my mind, I can't make sense or head or tails of them. But if I
Mm-hmm.
just want to write freeform for 3 or 4 pages, I
Mm-hmm.
tend to see what things are coming out, or if I'm on a walk with a friend and I can just monologue for a bit about something I'm thinking, something comes out of that, and it's
Yeah,
almost like magic, and you're like,
it
oh,
is
I
magic.
didn't even think about why I said that. Oh, okay, and then you can actually accept it and deal with it. But if it's just in the Wizard of Oz tornado in your head, the house just keeps going round and round and never
Yeah.
lands.
The the act of writing is spelling. It's also magical,
Okay.
right? It is, and that's in every culture, every spiritual system. God creates the world with His words. So you write them, that's spelling, or you speak them, abracadabra. There's magic in both. It's alchemic.
I really, really, I believe in the magic of words. So yeah, I know you have a believer on that.